Buff Nation.
Squad.
Oh, baby, let's get it, man. Welcome into a virtual studio. It is DNVR Buffs Live. It's an emergency pod edition. I can't even remember the last time we did one of these, Scotty. It's been a minute.
For real. Big
time breaking news. And we start today. Presented by our friends over at New Built, man. I mean, look, it's an emergency for us. We had to be ready to go. There's things we got to address right away. And that's what New Built does. When that home emergency hits, New Built Restoration and Construction will be there for you at nubilt.com or 720-903-4254. Let them know DNVR sent you. Oh, hey, boy, Scotty.
Hey, as much as I love a good emergency show, a good emergency pod, I'm a little nervous right now, bro, because as we're sitting here live, bro, something else might happen. We might get another commitment because based on the last 24 hours, even the last 12 hours or so, the motion is motioning right now, and I don't think there's going to be an end in sight here for the foreseeable future. I think this momentum is going to carry into today, certainly carry into this week. And I think this is just the first of many conversations, maybe the first of a few emergency pods we're going to do during this transfer portal window that ends on January 16th.
Absolutely, man. It's we're back. I mean, Look, people forgot who the head coach of this football team is. Honestly.
For sure.
This is feeling like the 2023-2024 offseason.
And you know what? Let me say something out the gate, because you said people forget who the head coach is. I have seen on social media some narratives that Coach Prime not in the building while this is going on, while recruits and transfer portals are coming in. And I was told this morning that is obviously not true. That Coach Prime is in the building meeting with these recruits and talking with these guys. And we'll see where he ends up today. Obviously, Shador plays a football game, but for the people who are assuming, and that's what that is, they are assuming that Coach Prime is not in the building at this point. Those people are wrong. I just wanted to put that at the gate there.
No, that's great. I mean, I heard that last night. And look, here's the thing. This is an absolutely insane weekend in Boulder, Colorado. The number of players who have or will be visiting Boulder just this weekend is way more than we ever could have imagined would be visiting this weekend. I mean, seriously, I've never heard a number this big in terms of the players visiting Boulder this weekend. I've never heard a number this big in terms of the amount of commits that Colorado got this weekend. We haven't even scratched the surface, I don't think, really on a lot of those players. We still haven't even found out who all these players are visiting the Champion Center this weekend as well, too. So, I mean, look, it's important to note it's the portal. Guys are going to have other visits as well. Flips can happen. Anything can happen in the portal. So, this information is going to trickle out. But very, very good weekend out there in Boulder. And let's start breaking down some of the guys who are going to be new Buffs. Let's start with
the first one, eh?
Yeah, start us off, please.
The first transfer portal commit of this beautiful 2026 year was Kam Perry, Miami of Ohio transfer wide receiver. Now, Jake, didn't I try to tell folks a couple weeks ago that receiver was going to be a top priority? Didn't I try to tell folks that? Yeah. I tried to tell folks that, didn't I? Okay, all right. Well, the first commit was a receiver, a very talented one and an electric one as well. Kam Perry, last season at Miami of Ohio, 43 catches, 976 yards, 6 touchdowns, over 20 yards a catch. This man is an elite route runner, a dynamic playmaker, can play in the slot, can play outside, is a bit undersized, but we have seen too many undersized wide receivers just flat out know how to get open, catch the football, and make plays. And this applies to Kam Perry, man. He is going to be electric in this go-go offense with Julian Lewis throwing him the football. And with Brennan, Marion's just pedigree, his experience, not only playing receiver at the college level at a high level, but also coaching guys like Jordan Henderson, coaching guys who obviously we have heard of as well, other NFL guys as well, like Xavier Worthy. He is going to get Kam Perry up to another level. And his current level is already pretty damn good. Started his career, I believe, at Indiana. So this is a talented football player. And it makes sense. He was on a visit, obviously, this weekend. It didn't take much time for Colorado to lock that in with Kam Perry. Julian Lewis is going to love this young man, and I know Brennan Marion is going to utilize him to the best of his capabilities.
I mean, I think last year, the team was missing kind of a true slot, right?
Yeah.
And you've really kind of tackled that right out the gate. And we know the value of slot receiver. Brennan Marion knows that. I mean, he was kind of playing that role, and I tweeted it out when Kam committed. I mean, I don't know how Brennan Marion, saw him and didn't see a little bit of himself in Kam Perry. He averaged like 23 yards a catch this last year. Of course, Brennan Marion has that ridiculous stat in terms of how many yards per catch he averaged in college. But I can only imagine, what's going through Brennan Marion's mind. It's probably something along the lines of, man, if I was able to play in my offense when I was in college, imagine what I would have done. And that's probably what he's thinking about Kam Perry here. So this is a quarterback's best friend type of player. This guy's a dog. Yeah. The plays that he's made, especially last year for Miami, Ohio, I mean, some of the best catches of the season you'll see from Kam Perry last year.
And a deep threat, right? Something that this go-go offense requires, at least one on the field at all the time, a vertical threat. That's what Kam Perry is. That's a big part of his skill set. And you mentioned just some of the acrobatic contested catches. I posted the one yesterday he had in the MAC championship game. I mean, a spinning one-handed catch along the sideline, tap one foot in. I mean, those type of ball skills, are just something that just can't be taught. You know what I'm saying? Either you have that or you don't. And you want to get as many guys with that in their bag as possible. And Kam Perry certainly has that. Let's move on. Let's just stay on the receivers, right? Big news today, this morning. Brennan Marion is all the way in his bag, man. And like I said a couple weeks ago, receiver was going to be a top priority because it needed to be. And this morning, Danny Scudero, an All-American wide receiver, a Biletnikoff semifinalist wide receiver, committed to Colorado, man. Scudero last season, 88 catches, 1,291 yards. That was number one in the nation, Jake. Led all of FBS, 1,291 receiving yards, had 10 touchdowns as well. This is another dynamic weapon for Juju, for Brennan Marion and his go-go offense, man. Again, another undersized kind of most likely slot receiver, but can certainly be moved around, is an elite route runner, just gets open in his sleep, runs routes in his sleep with ease. And this is somebody with the production that we're talking about, man. And believe he started his career at Sac State. Obviously Brennan Marion wasn't there at that point, but there is certainly some connection between those two. And again, Brennan Marion has to see some of himself in Danny Scudero. And that is going to be something that is going to be electric with this offense, man. The go-go offense, we've kind of talked about it, Jake, you and I, kind of off the air, but this is going to be an offense or a team that is probably going to be led by their offense, scoring close to 30-plus points a game. And that's probably going to have to be how they win games, is in shootouts, in high-scoring games, because obviously there's still a lot of work that has to be done on defense. But offensively, you got the quarterback, you got the weapons, you got the young, innovative OC. And as long as you can continue to build out that offensive line, this offense is going to be really, really, really explosive.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear that's where they're going to go at this point. I mean, why not? You have Julian Lewis, lean in. One of, 4 returning quarterbacks in the Big 12 this year. And it's going to be turning into, I think, the conference of quarterbacks as well, in terms of how the rest of these dominoes are going to fall in the transfer portal. Yeah. You already saw Mestemaker. He's committed to Oklahoma State, and he was one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in FBS this last year. So you're going to have to score points in this conference. I think 30 is kind of on the low end. I mean, really, you get up to 35 plus. Probably you're going to have chances of winning damn near every game you're in, but maybe we are headed back to kind of the old Big 12 type of thing where it's just defense optional type of stuff. So at least in Colorado's, kind of mind frame in terms of this team building that's going on this offseason, I think that's what you have to build around. You have Julian Lewis. You kind of have to make him, happy too, kind of incentivize him to stay. He is a redshirt freshman after all, right? I mean, he has not just this year, but he could come back next year as well. Yep. You've got to keep him happy. And with Brennan Marion, I mean, going and attacking those players right out the gate, I mean, Julian's got to be grinning ear to ear. I think that's what you have to do on defense too. You have to kind of build around Julian in the style you want to play. You're just going to have to try and get, guys who can, play from ahead, get those edge rushers who can, make life hell for quarterbacks, get some ball hawks in the secondary to make plays on the football and try and steal you some possessions. I think that's about where Colorado is right now in terms of how they want to build their team for next year, and it's kind of showing already through 5 commits.
And we talked so much about identity last year, man. When you have a quarterback like Julian Lewis and an OC like Brennan, that's your identity. And I get go-go offense, right? It's 2 back, it's a power on offense, and the running game is certainly going to be a big part of things. But when you have a quarterback like Julian Lewis with his skill set, the quarterback and the skill set that Brandon Marion really believes in terms of a guy that can really put up some big numbers in the passing game. Like, you have to surround him with as many weapons as possible, and I think that's what they're trying to do. And DeAndre Moore Jr., we heard yesterday, is planning to visit Colorado in a couple of days, January 6th to 7th. The Texas transfer wide receiver over the last 2 seasons, 77 catches, 988 yards, 11 touchdowns for the Texas Longhorns. If Colorado adds DeAndre Moore to the fold with Kam Perry and Danny Scudero and JoJo Williams and Quinn Gibson, Julian Lewis and Cornell, you can keep going, but with Zach Atkins, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Julian Lewis is going to be what we all thought he could be, because he's going to be insulated and surrounded with the talent, with the personnel to reach his aspirations and his goals and whatnot. So, keep an eye on DeAndre Moore. Like I said, he is just came off a visit from Kentucky, which Kentucky is kind of going crazy in the portal. I don't know if you've noticed that, Jake, but coming off a visit to Kentucky, has the visit to Ohio State, Louisville before he makes his stop in Colorado. So keep an eye on DeAndre Moore Jr. If they end up with that trio of receivers in the portal, you don't need to do any more work in the portal at receiver.
It's also worth mentioning Brennan Marion was Moore's primary recruiter when he was a 4-star recruit in 2023.
100%.
When he was at Texas. It looks like that pipeline's kind of being tapped into. There's a few names that I've heard that would be linked to when Brennan Marion was at Texas. So,
and really, when Marion was recruiting DeAndre Moore Jr. to Texas, DeAndre Moore Jr. had a quote. He goes, "Coach Marion is probably one of the best receiver coaches there is. I know I can go there." He was talking about Texas, obviously, at the time. Mm-hmm. "And he can develop me into the best player I can be." So there's clearly a connection there. Certainly keep an eye on that.
Absolutely. Many more to come too, man.
For sure.
We'll touch on let's just do Damien Henderson as well. First Sac State transfer into Colorado from Brennan Marion's time over there as the head coach last year. This is a guy who was, he's actually got really good recruiting pedigree. Was a 3-star recruit, ranked 475th overall in that 2023 class. Originally committed to Colorado State. Actually only played in 5 games, only had 21 touches, 23 total touches in 2 years there. Didn't get the ball enough, didn't get enough playing time, hit the portal. He ends up going to Sac State, linking up with Brennan Marion. Was their second leading rusher for Sacramento State last year. Played in all 12 games, 91 rushes, 565 yards, 5 touchdowns. Also added 7 receptions for 65 yards. That is well over 5 yards per carry, by the way, if you're keeping track at home. 6.2, I think. But the first running back of the go-go era to be coming in as well. Of course, someone who has familiarity, too, with Brennan Marion. I think that's important, right? We talk a lot about what happened last year in terms of this team kind of falling apart. I just think standards weren't being met in many areas, right? You're bringing in a guy right now, he's going to know exactly what Brennan Marion wants. He's already been there and done that. He understands, how you play without the ball is how much you love your teammates type of thing. This is an older guy too. You hope that it's someone who can maybe potentially emerge as a leader at this point, but we'll see. It's also worth mentioning too, with the wide receivers, someone, made this point to me too about Brennan Marion and the go-go, because of just like who he is and like his mentality and stuff. And like, the selfless playing and all that, like, it really is kind of a grab bag at who's going to come out of this and be like starting for this team, especially in positions. We got a long way to go, obviously, until we get there. But I don't think it's, you can say Kam Perry. I think that's what I'd probably say at this point. But there's just so many options out there. And Brennan Marion, the way he coaches, he's truly going to dig in and find out who the best players are and get them on the field.
100%. I think that's what Coach Prime would want too, right? Don't just label or give somebody a starting spot because they were highly recruited or we spent a lot of time getting them out of the portal. Like, no, you got to get there, especially with a lot of these guys, learning a go-go offense for the first time. It's going to be an adjustment for all of them. And I've talked about this, right? Not just for the quarterback, not just for the running backs and the receivers, but for everybody to learn how to play in this offense as a unit, as one. And that's why getting a guy like Damien Henderson, who already has experience in this system, in this role, I think is massive, right? I think they're going to get a few Sac State guys, but I think he might have been the top of my list of guys that I would have wanted. Not because maybe I think he's maybe the best, but because I think just the fit in what this offense requires is he's going to be a good example for the running back room, right? I feel like Coach Marion's going to be like, you Henderson, you go first in line for this drill, right? To show everybody how it's done for some, maybe some go-go offense specific type stuff. And I just think that's going to be big for the entire room. But this dude can go as well. I like his size, 6'2", 210 pounds, but he can fly. I posted a clip last night of him, just going right up the gut. I mean, just burning the whole defense for about a 75-yard touchdown. Bro's got real speed to go along with that size. That is ideal for a running back. And I'm really excited about this one as well because you can feel Brennan Marion's kind of fingerprints on each of these offensive moves that have been made so far. And again, like we talked about, man, he knows what he's looking for. He can go find it. And it might not be in the shape or form of a 5-star, but he gonna find what he's looking for, and he gonna make it work based on his past, his history.
Absolutely, man. You want to lead us into this ad break, and then we'll get to defense?
Absolutely, man. Let's take our first break here. Hear from our friends, our good friends, over at Taco Bell, man. And shout out to Taco Bell, man. I would say I have some exciting news to share, but I think y'all have heard it by now. It doesn't make it any less exciting, though, man. That iconic quesarito is back at Taco Bell for a limited time, and Jokic has unfortunately still not tried it yet, but I have, right? Don't y'all worry. I've had it, and I can assure you it's fire if you've never had it already, man. Let's try to get our boy Jokic trying one, though. I think he's got a little bit of free time right now. So I think
I've heard that quesaritos have healing powers, actually.
Hey, it's worth a try. I think it's worth a try. At the very worst, you tried a really tasty, iconic menu item from Taco Bell. Obviously, the Buffs boxes have sold out, but Colorado Taco Bell restaurants, they still want to hear from you guys, man. They want to hear which student athletes you would like to see featured on the Collector Cups for the 2026 football season. That's later this year. Man, that's crazy to think about. Put your comments in the chat. Let us know who you think deserves to be featured next year. Shout out to Taco Bell. Shout out to Quesarito. Shout out to TV.
And shout out to new friends over at Xfinity, man. Let's go. Welcome to the DNVR family. We're hyped to partner with them. Some changes coming to DNVR for 2026. We'll get there when we get there. But shout out to Xfinity. We got to be reliable. We got to be on it. We got to be intelligent. That's what it is during portal season. That's exactly what Xfinity does and can do for your Wi-Fi as well. They got a 5-year price guarantee. Get in now. These things. You know how it goes with internet prices. They can always surge and all that stuff. But Xfinity is going to lock you in for 5 years. They're going to set you up with all your devices working in perfect harmony in your home. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and Xfinity's best equipment included. Take it from us. 5 years. That's a long time, right? We're in year 4. Lock in now with our friends over at Xfinity. Unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only. Restrictions apply. Did you see something or what?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Let's keep things rolling, though. We had 5 commits.
Defense.
In this cycle, we've already talked about 3. Let's move on to Lamont Lester Jr., man, an edge transfer from Monmouth. 6'2", 230 pounds, was FCS freshman All-American this past season in 2025, had 11.5 TFLs, 9.5 sacks. You watch some of his film, man. This seems like a really, really polished edge rusher, man. Has multiple moves, can set you up outside to get back going inside, has a power to speed rush or speed to power rush, I should say. Again, a lot of people are going to see the school Monmouth, right? They're going to see that he played at the FCS level and try to put him in a box. But this is somebody who, again, was a FCS freshman All-American. So there's still a lot of room for development and growth, but you've seen enough potential and talent for you to try to take a chance on a guy like this. And as we've talked about, right, you gotta flesh out and add as many capable bodies on the defensive front as possible. And I think this is a really good start. I really like Lamont Lester Jr.'s game.
Was named FCS freshman All-American, first team All-CAA last year. Young player too, redshirted in 2024. Yep. Only played in one game that year and then completely broke out this last season. 11.5 TFLs, 9.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles as well. He's not a very bendy guy, but he's relentless, man. Great motor, has some moves, very active hands as well. He's kind of playing basketball out there, right? Like he's going to try and, hit you with the crossover real quick and get across a tackle's face. But he was very productive last season. Again, a young player, nominated for the FCS Jerry Rice Freshman of the Year award as well. This is exactly what we talked about coming into the portal, right? These are the type of players that you want to find. And maybe this is kind of exactly what you want to find in terms of not just the production, in terms of, the level they're coming up from and how much you're going to, you're going to save there as opposed to attacking, Power 4 kids. But also, youth on his side too. This is a player that you can kind of grow inside the program and get a lot better in your own walls and is going to be there for a while. So a nice piece for the future. Again, this is a completely brand new room, basically. You have Domata Pecco Jr., who else?
Joseph Pecco.
And Joseph Pecco. There's a handful of guys in that room still, but there's many more to come.
Not even really a handful. It's like a few.
There's like 3 or 4, I think.
Yeah, for sure. You're right, though. That's the room that's just got to get added to. And you can't really be picky at this point. So I like that. Tell us about our last commit here.
Our guy, Yamil Talib, nephew of Super Bowl 50 Denver Broncos champion Yamil Talib. This guy, so he was a 2024 unranked recruit out of Richardson Bergner High School in Richardson, Texas. Originally walked on at Oklahoma State, only played in one game in 2024 before, I guess, entering the portal and walking on to Charlotte ahead of 2025 practices. I don't think he played very much at Charlotte. Obviously, the relationship with Coach Prime and Yamil Talib, played a role here. But another younger player. He would have been a redshirt freshman this last year. So he's going to have tons of eligibility, tons of room to grow. We'll see if he's able to make an impact in that room as well. Again, many, many more players coming for that room.
For sure. That's just at the very least, like that's somebody with potential, still kind of a relatively younger guy, has played a little bit at his previous stop. But again, you're pretty much rebuilding the entire defensive line room. And not every guy you're going to add is going to be a starter or looked at as a, contributor right away. And that is quite literally perfectly fine because you need bodies in the room. And you never know, right? You take shots and sometimes guys surprise you. Sometimes you bring in a guy and you're like, oh, we actually didn't even know he was this talented or that he could turn into this. And that is certainly what happens quite a bit in the college football landscape. So while we're talking defensive linemen, we just heard from one more, not a commitment, but the announcement of a commitment. App State transfer defensive lineman Dylan Manuel, he is committing tonight on Instagram Live at 5:30 p.m. Mountain Time. That's 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Like I said, it'll be on his Instagram. He is coming off a Colorado visit. He was in Colorado yesterday and today. So keep an eye on that. From what I've heard, Colorado made a real impression on Dylan Manuel, and there's definitely some mutual love between the two. So make sure y'all tune into that.
You have something on Justin Eglin too?
Yeah, for sure. So Justin Eglin, the James Madison transfer cornerback who was all Sun Belt this year, had 8 PBUs, 5 interceptions, had an interception in the college football playoff game against Oregon. He is visiting Rutgers today, but I am told that he will be in Boulder tomorrow for a visit. He will be visiting tomorrow and Tuesday. And he really likes Colorado. Obviously, Colorado really likes him and his film. This was a talented guy coming out of high school. His only offer was from FCS James Madison and Kurt Signetti, and made it happen at James Madison. Developed, coached the right way. Obviously, had a really impressive year here in 2025, and he's looking for a step up. And if Colorado's able to close the deal here over the next couple of days with their visit, I would be slotting Justin Eaglin in probably as a starting cornerback for this team. Has the size, has the experience, the length, the ball skills that I know this secondary, this defense is looking for and needing. So Eaglin would be a massive, massive pickup. So obviously I'll have it locked on that as well.
Facts. New Mexico State safety, Nathan Mitchell, also coming in on a visit this weekend. Highly productive second team All-Conference USA. He's in Boulder. We'll see if he makes a decision.
Really like his game too.
Yeah, very, very active back there. I thought we had another cornerback. Am I missing someone?
Another cornerback?
Yeah, I might just be misremembering. There's a lot of players, guys. A lot of players. A lot of names.
A lot of guys out there, no, for sure. Like I said, I would expect at least 2 more today.
Oh, here it is. It's Utah cornerback Smith Snowden. He is someone of interest. Michigan, Oregon, Colorado, Ole Miss, BYU, Florida, Cal, and Washington among the teams expressing significant interest in the Utah transfer, according to Blair Angulo from 247 Sports. This guy was a starter the last 2 years. Has played in 23 games for Utah, or not played, started in 23 games for Utah over the last 2 seasons. Played as a true freshman as well. I'm pretty sure he played in all 11 or 12 games as a true freshman. I think he had a start at like wide receiver or running back this year for Utah as well. In his career, 92 total tackles, 6 TFLs, 4 interceptions, 1 pick six, 17 passes defended, and a forced fumble. Extremely, extremely productive.
Really good.
One of the best players in the portal, one of the most coveted players in the portal too.
He jumps off the screen when you watch Utah play, no doubt. There are a lot of others, pretty big name schools that are in the running for him as well, right? I think I saw like Ole Miss and
Oregon, Michigan, Ole Miss, BYU, Florida, yeah. And then our boy Gideon ESPN Lamprin visiting Colorado this weekend, right?
Yeah. I reported yesterday that Gideon will be in Colorado today for a visit. Would be a massive get. Got to close the deal on that one. We talked about him, I believe, earlier this week. 119 total tackles just last season. 17 and a half tackles for loss just last season. The team captain, first team All-MAC selection. Again, they got to visit. They got to close the deal, man, because this would be an immediate starter. This would probably be an immediate leader on this defense. And you need guys like this, especially when you're able to get them on campus. You got to close the deal. But I think Box and them are going to get the job done. And I think ESPN is going to be a buff before too long. But he's got some other suitors as well. But you can't let him leave, man. You gotta lock him in after this visit today. He's just mentioned it. Zach, how about Zach yesterday winning the Buck Buchanan Award for the FCS Defensive Player of the Year?
The Buck Buchanan Award.
Ain't that's what it's called, right? Ain't what it's called?
That's crazy if it is.
I'm pretty sure it is, bro. I'm pretty sure. Can you double check that for me real quick? I'm pretty sure that's what it's called, though. We talked about Andrew Zach earlier this week. I believe that was on Friday. Coming from Mercer, the edge player, really good player. I mean, you win FCS Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh my God, that is the name of it.
That's what I thought. I knew I would.
That's crazy.
Bro. The Buck Buchanan Defensive Player of the Year. 20 tackles for loss last season, 11 and a half sacks. All-American defensive lineman, obviously. And he is visiting Colorado tomorrow, I believe. Or no, January 7th. It'll be this week. So another guy, like Gideon, like some of the guys we mentioned, you get him on campus, can't let him leave without committing. That would be 2 massive pieces, immediate starters for this defense.
And there's more, too. Ezra Christensen visiting Colorado around that time as well, January 6th and 7th. Very productive, All-Conference USA for New Mexico State last year. MJ Stroud is also next week, the former Georgia Southern edge. Jordan Norman is next week. That's the former Tulane and South Alabama edge as well. And then, of course, keep an eye out on Sac State. Deshaun Watts is someone who we should expect to hear some news from eventually. Potentially another wide receiver as well, among many more. Again, insane number of players at the Champion Center this weekend, an insane amount of verbal commits. We'll see how many, fully come through. But this was the plan coming into the transfer portal. Obviously, you had to rebuild the roster a bit. Obviously, there's some nerves that kind of comes with that. I mean, I think that's why things have been on edge, I'd say, at best, the last probably month or so at least, right? But at the same time, again, just you can't forget who the man at the front is, the man running the show. And what happened last year with Coach Prime's health, again, I mean, that just set off so many things. And among many other things that kind of developed out of that he just wasn't, around there for to be around, that just they festered, right? And he comes back, and it's just all of a sudden you just got this sore spot on the team, and it continued to fester throughout the season too. So patience, but also it's possible. Other teams are going to have to rebuild through the transfer portal this year too. This is it's the most important part of the offseason now is the transfer portal. It just is. Like, we can talk about recruiting all we want and how important it is to get freshmen, which of course it is important to get freshmen and guys to develop in your program. But if you can't do it in the portal, you're not going to have a chance in college football in 2026.
No, you're not. And that's why you need an elite staff, elite recruiting staff. And that's why I want to give a shout out to Coach Box, right?
Absolutely.
It's only a couple of days into this transfer portal window, but through a couple of days, I feel like he's doing the damn thing. With all the visits that he's had in, obviously, you want some more commitments, and I think that'll come, as we get into the week and as we get closer to the 16th. But this was, I think, a strong first weekend of visitors. And again, the people out there don't know half of all the guys who were in the building this weekend, I should say. But that information will start to trickle out. And like I said, I just want to give a shout out to Box because, transitioning into this new role, right, as director of player personnel with so much riding on this transfer portal window. You said it's the most important time in college football, the part of the calendar. That's true for everybody, but especially for this program coming up the season that they had with all the changes that have transpired since the end of the season. I think for Box to come in this first weekend and, like I said, really, really have a strong start to this portal window, I think says a lot about him and, his future prospects in this role.
Absolutely, man. Totally. Shout out Coach Box. Again, just thinking about this weekend and how electric it must have been there in Boulder in the Champion Center over the weekend. Can you imagine the pitch, though? I mean, all those guys sitting in that room and, if you're Coach Prime, I mean, I'm just imagining, obviously, but I'm imagining you got to go, look, we brought y'all here because we thought y'all were good players and we thought y'all could make us a lot better. Imagine how good we'd be if this room was here when I show back up for work next week and schools, classes are going. You know what I mean? Like, for sure. How much momentum we could have if all of these guys stayed. Of course, that's not going to happen. Just doesn't happen in the transfer portal. So don't expect it. But this has been a great start for CU, and momentum is back for the program.
No doubt. One last thing before we get up out of here. Shout out to the CU men's basketball team. Starting Big 12 play 1-0 with a nice win on the road against Arizona State. True freshman Isaiah Johnson just doing Isaiah Johnson things, dropping a team-high 19 points. And these all-Power 4 players this season in scoring off the bench. Obviously, CU kind of had a rough finish to the non-conference slate, but a great start to the Big 12 slate, and hopefully that carries into the rest of the next few months. But just wanted to shout them out for a nice little win to start a Big 12 play.
Absolutely. Shout out to CU basketball. Anything else? I think we have a couple super chats, actually, if we want to hit these. Mello says, my dog's tailgate GT game. I'm pretty confident you can bet on that, Mello. We'll see you out there, man.
You see, they just did something, too. I think they got a new OC. Yeah, they got a new OC.
Yeah, Faulkner left for Florida, I believe, right?
Yeah, they just hired somebody. They hired from the Ravens. They hired the Ravens tight end coach. No, the Ravens tight end coach, George Godsey, as their new OC.
Very interesting. Wow.
He was a longtime NFL assistant. He had been with the Ravens three of the last 4 years under Monken.
I don't know if I really like that off the top. I mean, you went from Buster Faulkner and Haynes King. That's about as college football as it gets. And now you're bringing in a guy who's just been in the pros for however long.
Well, it says that – so Famo said that there should be system continuity. Faulkner comes from the same tree of coaches as Gotze or whatever. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But, yeah.
Storyline to follow for sure.
No doubt.
Obviously, it's Sunday with NFL and stuff going on. This is going to be it for today. But stay tuned tomorrow. We'll be back 1:30 from the studio. And big show. Potential guests.
Potentially.
We'll see.
Stay tuned, man. Tap in with us. It's going to be a fun
week. Scotty. See you tomorrow. Keep crushing it. Follow Scotty Pockets, man, on Twitter. He's been on the damn thing. He's been crushing it, man.
Appreciate that, bro. And follow Jake DNVR, bro. Come for the news and the updates, but stay for the eyeballs and the troll.
Oh boy, we're having some fun. All right, chat.
You're right.
We'll see y'all tomorrow. School Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.